Am I the butthole for telling my brother's girlfriend to pay full rent, since I am not the one who is effing her in the ass? I know the titles sound awful, but hear me out. I, 48 male, own my own house, a 3-bedroom house, and my brother, male mid-20s, live with and pay 1/3 of the market price for a room in this area, just enough to pay for his part on the utilities. My brother has a girlfriend who doesn't live with us but spends most nights here, think, more or less 15 or 16 nights a month, and I must say, it must be good to be young because they F all night long. How I know it? Is because she is loud, and I mean porn star levels, so the night she is here I can't sleep because of her screaming F my ass. All night long. So last week, after her staying here for the night 2 weeks in a row, she decided it would be a good idea to move in with my brother, but instead of sharing the room with him she would take my other free room. She told him her idea and he told me. I told him to call her so we could talk. She came and I said that if she going to move in she will pay full rent. She blew up on me when I told her how much the market rent was. I believe she thinks that she would be living here rent-free since she was my brother GF, and demanded to know why I would charge her with full price. I was sleep-deprived and cranky as hell, so my mouth was faster than my brain, and I said that since I wasn't the one effing her in the ass she would need to pay full rent. She became silent and read while my brother was laughing his butt off on the floor. After that she stormed out the house, and since then my brother is the one hanging out at her place, and I must say, I love the silence, but am I the butthole? Hell no, you're not. He's your brother, so preferential treatment is expected. But she taking up another free room for herself that needs to be paid. Maybe you could have been a bit less direct. But the message is still the same: you move in, you pay rent. End of story. NTA. That was just hilarious. NTA. Yup, laughed my ass off. Not the butthole. I, too, agree. NTA. Anyone else? Laughed my ass off. All night long. NTA. Laughed my ass off, all night long, while blasting All Night Long by Lionel Richie, while effing a girl in her A. NTA. Sheesh, please no more ass after the screaming all night laughing my butt off. Lamau haha. I mean, it is hilarious. But outside of Reddit, saying something like that, embarrassing someone like that, is somewhat butthole-ish. They are both buttholes for the loud sex. I mean, did you even ask your brother to talk to her? Because either you didn't, or your brother never told her because he likes it, or she didn't care. But that last one seems unlikely seeing how she reacted to your comment. She's in buttholes for staying half a month each month without contributing anything and then asking for a whole freaking room. Your brother is a butthole too, therefore not realizing that requesting that is overboard and it should have not had to be even asked. Like I said above, you are in buttholes for that comment. Doesn't mean you are wrong, but is not what you said but how you said it. Your brother is again a butthole for laughing at her in her face. So, in my honest opinion, ESH. Sad I had to scroll so far to get the right answer. Reddit, our misogyny is showing. Let's do better. Misogyny for what? You don't think the girlfriend knew how obnoxiously loud she was screaming? You don't think she knew how obnoxious and entitled it was to be living in someone else's home for half the month rent-free? You don't think she knew how entitled and expectant her actions were to not even ask the homeowner if it was okay, she'd just move right on in? You think she knew how entitled it was to not ask, just take a spare room and not pay a lick of rent or household expenses? If anything, it was the girlfriend who was being sexist by expecting two men to take care of and support her, especially considering one of them wasn't even her boyfriend. A little embarrassment isn't going to hurt her. If anything, maybe it'll be a good wake-up call for her because she really needs one of the above as her regular behavior. There's no way in hell I'd have allowed myself to lose as much sleep as original post has. He was nice to try and not embarrass her by not saying anything for so long. I wouldn't have lasted the freaking night before I would banging on the door telling girlfriend to shut the F up with that fake-ass porn star crap. 30-year-old female here who enjoys being loud during sex, and yeah, I agree, misogyny? Please. When you're doing it with your boyfriend in a roommate housing situation, you can't be screaming about butt stuff loud enough for others to hear. That's just not cool. Op is NTA. The girlfriend definitely is. And she needs to learn to respect the person who owns the home that she's so comfortable staying in for free. Yeah, exactly. When you're loud, there's no possibility you don't know. It's just ridiculous to be screaming like that when you're a guest at someone else's house and you know they can hear what's going on. I applaud Original Post for being so patient and kind to not tell them to screw somewhere else after he heard that BS for the first few times. Then her coming at him demanding a free room? He's a saint for only saying that one sentence, lol. People out here really thinking you can yell at the top of your voice and be completely unaware, laughing out loud, too much porn. Nothing wrong if people are into screaming, but to suggest they can't hear themselves, especially in someone else's home, is dumb. Yeah. And if the brother was gay and it was his boyfriend shouting about butt stuff, it would be just as obnoxious and discourteous. Original Post isn't annoyed because she's a woman, he's annoyed because she's disrespectful. Exactly, people seem to be oblivious to the fact that consent doesn't stop at a closed bedroom door. Original Post didn't consent to routinely hearing their sex life so clearly that he knows in detail what is happening in that bedroom. This was a conversion I had to sternly have with an ex once. I had to explain that if the entire house can hear, in detail, what's happening during sex, that's not okay. That 2 other people lived in that house, one of them being a teenager, who wasn't home at the time. I asked if she would still be okay with the entire house hearing her if the teen was home. She lost her will to argue after that remark. TLDR, people need to be more mindful of inadvertently exposing their sex life to people that didn't consent to it. Lamau, what? What about what he said is misogynistic? My days, I swear people here have reduced any insult to women as misogyny as opposed to just admitting some women deserve it. If Original Post was a woman and the brother was gay, would you say it's misandry if she said the same thing to his boyfriend? Something tells me you wouldn't. So let me get this straight. The brother and his girlfriend are having sex in a committed relationship. She's vocal during sex and apparently doesn't realize that Original Post can hear them and or that it bothers him. She makes an unreasonable request, for which she was in awe, and instead of telling her no like a reasonable person and explaining his reasoning, he decides to humiliate her by throwing her, completely normal, sex life in her face. Which is completely irrelevant to the issue of rent. The brother then starts pissing himself because apparently his brother humiliating his girlfriend is just so effing funny. What part of this doesn't make Original Post an immature, misogynistic butthole who can't use his words, not to mention tact, to resolve problems like a big boy? The title of the post isn't "Am I the butthole for charging my brother's girlfriend rent?" Is he in butthole for what he said? Yes. Absolutely. Saying the same thing against a gay couple wouldn't be misandry, but likely homophobia, because I don't know if you noticed, but men and women's sexuality has been treated differently by society since, the dawn of time. Edit, a word. Being tired of hearing their loud sex and saying something inappropriate might be insensitive but misogynistic? That's effing ridiculous. What if the brother was gay and it was his boyfriend saying that? Does it go from being misogynistic to homophobic? This has absolutely zero to do with Op's brother's girlfriend's vagina, which apparently she doesn't prefer his brother use, and everything to do with her freeloading and being loud during sex. Stop turning everything into a gender issue when there isn't one. It's dishonest and divisive. Absolutely zero to do with Op's brother's girlfriend's vagina, which apparently she doesn't prefer his brother use, haha. Also, woman here, you're totally right. Has nothing to do with misogyny. These people just have their knickers in a twist cause someone feelings got hurt. Trust, I'd barge on into that room while they're butt banging and tell them to quieten down the first time it happened. Also a woman, it definitely doesn't sound misogynistic. A little crude, but matter of fact. And honestly, who would have the patience to be polite after being kept up for another 15 nights in a row and being asked for more, for free laughing out loud NTA? Some people are so effing fragile they think treating women like human beings and holding them accountable is misogyny. The same people also confusingly usually call themselves feminists. For real, haha, like, should Original Post have mentioned it to his brother earlier? Probably. Should the girlfriend have been more conscious of their obnoxious sex? Of course. But snapping under all of that stress and disrespect? Definitely not Op's fault, and 100% not directed at gender. Woman here, and I agree. There's no way she wasn't aware of how loud she was. I've had roommates off and on for the past 3 years, and I'm so self-conscious when I'm having sex. This is definitely about her disrespecting him and expecting him to let her just live there. I mean, it can be rude and uncalled for but not misogynistic, which it is. You could swap the genders and it's two girls with a boyfriend moaning loudly and saying crap and it's the same. How do you not realize you're being loud to the point where other people can hear you? It doesn't make original post an immature misogynistic butthole. Okay, and what does that make his brother's girlfriend? She made an extremely unreasonable request and she doesn't even contribute. I think it would be misogyny, homophobic if you're claiming he insulted the other party because of their gender or sexual orientation. Something tells me this guy would have said it regardless. He could be an but not necessarily the kind that you're describing. No, they would say it's homophobic, of course. As a woman, the fact that you think this is misogyny is sad. Dude called her out on her sheer entitlement. How in the world is that sexist? As a woman as well, I can actually see how the comment is misogynistic in the context. He brought her sexual actions into an unrelated conversation to shame her. He attempted to justify it by pointing out that his brother found it funny, which is supposed to nullify or ease the fact that he very clearly shamed her rather than having a separate conversation about loudness like an adult. You could argue that it was just rude rather than sexist, but I would argue the justifications he tried to use make it seem more sexist. Trying to justify his words to her through the reaction of another guy does make it come across as misogynistic. Whether it's a rude comment or if it genuinely is rooted in sexism, the end result is the same. Op asked if he's the butthole for what he said. Yes. And his brother is butthole for laughing at his so's embarrassment and the girl is butthole for acting entitled. ESH. I mean, I doubt he wouldn't say the equivalent to a man. The point is I'm not effing you, and I have to listen to you having sex all night, so yeah, you're paying bills. He didn't say anything about her being a woman. I'm not saying he's not the I actually think ESH. But being an doesn't necessarily equate with being sexist. I think the surrounding justification makes it come across as sexist, whereas if he didn't try to justify his dicky with but hey, the other guy in the room thought it was funny logic, I would be more hesitant to call it sexist. That justification, though, coupled with the comment, definitely sends sexist vibes. Yeah, that's fair. I hadn't quite thought about it from a perspective of it being basically kink shaming, never mind in a way that original post would probably never be comfortable doing or daring to do if the brother was in a relationship with a man instead. Because apparently not treating women as delicate flowers is sexist. Sounds like original post just told it to her straight same way you might to some over-entitled man. But in treating her the same and making no special allowances, he's a sexist. This everything is sexist mentality is so irritating. When you call things like this misogyny, you downgrade things that actually are misogyny, essentially making the word meaningless. Reddit, our misogyny is showing. Let's do better. This might be a personal pet peeve of mine, but I find it quite irritating when people refer to Reddit as a collective. You do realize each sub can have wildly different demographics, right? Women are 2/3 of the Am I the Butthole demographic. Our misogyny is not showing. Not to mention this statement is just incredibly patronizing. At least explain why you personally feel the tone of these responses is misogynistic instead of chiding us like children. Because as a woman myself, I think his retort was crude, but I don't see how misogyny comes into play here. As a 50-year-old woman, it drives me nuts when some 50-year-old woman says, "But all of you are probably angry teens living in your mom's basements with no life experience and therefore your opinion doesn't matter as much as mine." Gag. Thank you for mentioning that. I also think the comment is kind of icky because it sounds like original post would let her stay rent-free if she just let him F her in the ass. That's not the case, I assume, but it does sound like that. I was face-palming as well. I get his point, he just wants to sleep, but now I'm pretty sure he's ended up in her Me Too catalog as creepy older brother wanted to have sex with me for rent money, which kind of made his point go out the window. ESH. Am I the only one hoping an update comes out that's along the lines of she offered to let me F her in the ass for less rent, cause I think it'd be hilarious. What are you doing, step potential brother-in-law landlord? Did I do it right? Oh no, I'm stuck in the washer. Yes, you did. I agree, fellow Redditor. It sounds like that is definitely on the table. As she would be. Careful, she'd want market rates. That's next level plot twist. And respect the roommate, she isn't effing enough to let them sleep. NTA, but no amount of money can be worth it for crappy sleep every night. Must be a real pain in the ass. I see what you did there. I don't know how. The sun don't shine there. They saw it in the light of the moon. I salute you, sir. Not if you're doing it right. NTA, you're home, so you set the rates. Also, she is TA for being disrespectful in terms on noise level and practically living with you guys already without paying any rent. Seems to me that comment fixed all the issues. Good for you. While I never had to listen to them have sex, thank God, I solved the issues of my sister's boyfriend basically living with us by asking him to split our rent with us. Between the three of us it would have been sub $200 each. He stopped coming around after that. Win/win situation for me. Hope she was as insulted by that as she should be. She didn't seem to be and just went to hang with him wherever he was staying. Alternatively, it just made the boyfriend realize how much time he was really spending there, and out of respect he stopped. Yikes. Enjoy not having him around, hope your sister starts doing the same. Oh yeah, that was 10+ years ago. She kicked him to the curb after a couple years, just took a while, haha. Seriously, like I get being loud, but not if one. Other people are there, or two. Other people are there and it's not your house. Your home, your rules. She thinks the rent is too high? She can find another home to live in. NTA, your house, her ass. Wish I wasn't laughing so hard at this. Me too, smiley face. What are you doing, boyfriend's brother? This comment shows perfectly why the comment original post made is actually not okay at all. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.